Alright, the first pickup line is, I don't believe we've met. I'd like to solve that problem. Now, obviously this is funny on a surface level, but then below that, what makes it work is really the framing. It's implying your high value, and the fact the girl doesn't know you is a problem for her. And if you're a cool guy, it is. Most guys today are total fucking dweebs. Literally nobody has the balls to approach a woman sober, and so when you think about it, it really is a problem for the girl that she hasn't met you yet. I would actually argue it's her biggest problem. And so that's why this line works. It draws attention to the truth that every other guy other than you is a complete fucking dork. Okay, now this next line is a little more specific. And I first came up with this when I saw this drunk girl crying outside a nightclub, walked up to her and said, "You look like you've made some bad decisions in your life. Would you like to make another one?" Now, obviously I didn't actually want to go home with some drunk crying girl that night, but I've since used this line to good effect in several other situations. For example, this opener works really well on your classic problem girl. The art hoes, the goth girls, the girls with tattoos, the strippers, the porn stars, the e-girls, the girls who look like they play for the Devil's team. Although a lot of these girls actually have hearts of gold, really. Now, this line works best if you deliver it with an ironic smirk. And obviously with this line, you're playing the role of the bad boy here. The subtext of the line is, hooking up with you is going to be a bad decision, but a fun time. And of course, that's exactly what many girls are looking for. All right, third pickup line is, who's in charge here? And this is a line I like to use when I want to approach a group of girls. It could be 2 girls, 3 girls or more. And obviously when you go out to bars and clubs, most beautiful women you're going to find are going to be in a group. And so you got to get good at approaching groups. So this is a funny opening line you can use when you see a group of girls. You roll up on them, you say, "Hey, who's in charge here?" And this is funny, it's unexpected, it's surprising, and the girls will laugh, and so you break the ice that way. And they'll usually be a little reactive to you as well. They won't quite know what to say. They'll be like, "I don't know, no one's in charge," or "she's in charge," or whatever. And at any rate, they're now reacting more to you than you are to them. They're in your frame. That's obviously good. And so you can banter with them from there. Okay, fourth pickup line on the list. This one is much more low-key. And the context for when you want to use this one is, if you're going about your day, if you're at the grocery store, if you're at a bar, if you're, even at the gym, and say you lock eyes with a girl, sometimes when a girl will make eye contact with you, what you can do is you walk over to her, look her in the eye, kind of a little half a smile on your face, a little smirk, and you can say, "Hey, what are you looking at?" And obviously the key here is how you deliver it and your tonality. Obviously you don't want to scare the girl. It's not, "Hey, what are you looking at?" It's flirtatious, it's quieter, it's said with a hint of a smile on your face. "Hey, what are you looking at?" Works really, really well. Very smooth. I like that one. Alright, so this fifth line is real simple. You walk up to the girl, good eye contact, relaxed body language, and you say, "You look like somebody I want to meet." Simple, practical, straight to the point, truthful, just raw, unfiltered, authentic communication. And this one's great because it works in literally every situation. You can use this in cold approach, or you can use it in warm approach. Like if you're at a party with your friends and you see a girl there who you haven't been introduced to yet, this line works right then as well. It's just a really nice multi-purpose opener that you can use in any situation. Alright, so this next pickup line, this is my favorite to use in a loud bar or nightclub. The type of place where there's a lot of sexy girls wearing very little clothing. People are partying, getting rowdy, girls are twerking even. It's a very sexually charged atmosphere, but at the same time, it can be a very overwhelming atmosphere. The music is super loud. You can't really have a conversation, at least not in the initial approach. And in this case, I find the best pickup line or opener to use is to go very direct. You can't be subtle. It's just too loud to try to be fancy with it. Speak directly to her monkey brain, say something super simple and direct that immediately lets her know, "I think you're hot. Is this on or not?" And again, normally I don't like going that direct, but in this situation, you just got to cut through the noise and get to the point. So my favorite opener for a loud nightclub is, I see that hot girl, I walk up to her, I square up to her and look her right in the eye and I say, "You look fucking magnificent tonight." And I've found this to work really, really well. It creates a lot of attraction if you can pull it off. Now, obviously, this is a very ballsy approach, which means it's obviously higher risk, but at the same time, it's higher reward too. You ideally should have warmed up approaching a few other girls that night before you go in this strong. This type of opener is not something you want to be using for your first approach of the night. You need to be warm, you need to be loose, you need to be having fun already. But yes, it does work really, really well. The girls love it. It's exciting. And when you can pull off an approach like this, it demonstrates a lot of attractive qualities about you. Dominance, authenticity, being raw, being real, being willing to take risks, being willing to lose the girl. That's a big one. And when you say things that are slightly edgy and you're willing to risk offending the girl, that actually counterintuitively builds a lot of trust. Because the girl sees, okay, this guy is actually willing to express himself authentically and he's not just trying to kiss my ass and make me like him. And just as a side point here, I know this is really more of a video about lines, but just to get into a core principle here, that is really, really important when it comes to attracting the hottest girls, the 9s and 10s. To get those girls, you have to be polarizing. You have to be willing to offend them, and you have to be a little bit edgy sometimes just to show her you're not the same bland, boring, nice guy who she's bored to death of meeting. Really, really important point. The other thing that makes this particular line work really well is the contrast. On one hand, the word magnificent is very flowery, it's very ornate language. It's much more interesting and creative than saying something basic like you're hot. But then on the other hand, because you're saying you look fucking magnificent, you're adding that profanity, you're adding that edginess, and that can be very, very powerful. Because, if what you're saying is only profanity and cursing, that's kind of low brow, it's kind of crass. And if what you're saying is only flowery, highbrow language, like you're magnificent or you look breathtaking, that can be read as a little bit too much nice guy sometimes, depending how you deliver it. But when you mix those two elements together, that union of opposites, that alchemical great work, it creates this very nice contrast. And the example I like to use here to explain this is like, say you see a guy in a 3-piece suit, he's in a silk tie, polished shoes, he's immaculately tailored, but then he's swearing like a sailor. That's attractive and it's intriguing because of the contrast. Or on the other hand, let's say you see a guy who's a biker, he's a Hell's Angel, he looks absolutely terrifying, he looks like, he just stepped out of the gates of hell, but then he opens his mouth and he starts speaking like a scholar. He's soft-spoken, he's articulate, he has a masterful vocabulary. Both of those guys I've mentioned are going to be very, very attractive to women and charismatic to people in general because of the contrast. The human brain loves contrast. So anytime you can build these contrasts into what you're saying or doing, it can be very, very magnetic to girls. Okay, 8th pickup line is, I love your blank. I love the skirt, I love the earrings, I love the necklace, I love the shirt, I love your look is also a good general purpose one. Any item of clothing she's wearing, anything about her personal style you like, this one is always a great opener. Very easy to do for guys of any skill level. Just compliment her on something she's wearing, or even just compliment her personal style in general, like I love your look. Very easy, very simple way to get the conversation started. And like I said, this one's also very low risk, which makes it great for beginners. Okay, 9th pickup line. This is just a fun little simple one. You see the girl or the group, you walk up to her and you say, identify yourself. It's funny, it's cheeky, it's different, and as with a lot of things in approaching women, what makes this work is that you're just not doing the same thing everyone else is. When a girl goes out to a bar, assuming any guy even approaches her at all, what's his opener usually? It's, hey, what's your name? Which is boring, obviously. She's heard it a million times. But when you say, identify yourself, when you think about it, that's actually just another way of saying what's your name, but you're saying it in a way that isn't fucking boring. You're adding some pizzazz to it, it's got some sizzle. You win style points with this type of opener. And in my book, those are the only points that count. All right, so the 10th pickup line. This is where you go up to a girl and you say, hey, excuse me, has anyone ever told you how beautiful my eyes are? Now, with this line, and honestly with all these lines, what makes it work is not just the words, but it's the way you deliver the words. A lot of guys, they'll see a funny little line like this and they'll deliver it the wrong way. They'll rush through it. They'll say it too fast. And that completely kills the joke. If you were to go up to the girl and say, hey, has anyone ever told you how beautiful my eyes are? That's not going to work. You have to slow way down. You have to give her brain time to digest each piece of what you're saying. So it's, hey, excuse me. Then you take a short pause. The girl looks up at you. She now knows you're saying something to her. She's now waiting expectantly for you to continue. And only then, when you have her attention, do you move on to, has anyone ever told you how beautiful my eyes are? So again, you have to give it time for each word to land because, of course, the joke here is that when she hears you say the first part of the sentence, she's expecting you to say that she's beautiful. So you have to give her brain time to process what you're saying and make that assumption. But then when you subvert those expectations, when you say what she wasn't expecting, that's what creates the humor. Alright, so in this video, I've just given you a couple of good lines you can use to approach women, but a lot of you might be wondering now, okay, well those are great for cold approach, but what about texting? What about online dating? What are some pickup lines and some openers I can use that work on dating apps, for example? And if that's you, then I strongly recommend you check out my course, The Girlfriend Button. It's the first and only program which shows you how to get a perfect 10 girlfriend at the touch of a button. In The Girlfriend Button, I reveal one magic 12-word text that makes any girl fall head over heels in love with you the very first time you send it. And I'm even going to show you real proof, real text interactions of girls I met online, sent them this 12-word text, and we were sleeping together within the next 48 hours. So, click the link in the description below to learn about this magic 12-word text right now so you can turn almost any girl you match with online into your loyal, loving girlfriend or your friend with benefits in a matter of days or sometimes even hours. I'm also going to give you my complete cheat sheet of texts to send girls and subliminal messages you can insert in your online dating profile, which make women uncontrollably attracted to you, so they will stop flaking on you, stop ghosting you, stop ignoring you, and instead start desperately chasing you all the way into bed. It's easy because all the texts are already written, all the work has already been done for you. You literally just need to copy and paste these texts and start getting matches and dates with hot girls right away. So if you want all that, and if you want to stop getting ghosted and left on red, click the link in the description and watch my free training video on the next page now.